I've had lots of people asking over the last couple of days if and when the Holme FC database will be available for you to download and play along with. The quick answer is yes, it is going to be available. Not quite yet. It will be available to Patreon backers and channel members over the course of this weekend. At some point this weekend, I'll pop a post up on Patreon and here on the YouTube community page exclusive to channel members. They'll be able to get it downloaded over the weekend. Everybody else, you will get it soon. We're probably looking at early January, I think, for everybody else. But yes, it is going to be available soon. Hello and welcome to part 3 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we play in the FA Cup for the first time. I don't actually know what the round is called. Hold on, we're playing in the FA. I have to scroll to find out what the round is. It's the FA Cup preliminary round. So is this the round that comes before the qualifying rounds even? Right, we didn't have to do the extra preliminary round, but we are in the FA Cup preliminary round, which, to give it some context, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds before the first round. So we have to have a cup run equivalent to going from the third round to the final just to get into the first round. I'm not expecting a major cup run, but goodness me, would it be handy for our budget? We did get a nice little cash injection from Chairman Sir Nuhu, £45,000, but the fact he had to do that less than a month after the club's been in existence means money is always going to be a problem, and we don't know how much he's got and how long it will last. So we could definitely do with a cup run. We're also going to be playing against our big divisional rivals, Cleethorpes, pre-season favourites to win the league, who obviously stole our captain pre-season, Cummings Barter, as you can see. 2 assists from 3 games for them. He's had a decent start to the season. His start to the season, though, has been nothing on Anthony Harris. Anthony Harris, our 16-year-old striker, who is currently running at 6 goals from 3 games, 1 assist, 2 man of the match. It's actually a better goal return than Levi Potten. I know we're all still... I'm still sad that we couldn't keep this guy. 2 from 2 in the National League. He was always too good for us. But I actually think Harris might be too good for us as well. He's scored 2 goals in every league game so far, and that leaves us second in the league after 3 games. I've heard there might be some irregularities at Stamford as well. So we're basically first. Are they on our rivals list? They really should be. Just for the narrative, really. Are they on our rivals list? How do we see our rivals list? They are. Excellent. So local rivals, Stamford, top of the league. Obviously, Harris aside, though, it has been a very good start to the season. We're undefeated in the league. Everything is looking good. Transfer-wise, we haven't lost any more players since you were last with me. Obviously, if you want to be fully up to speed with all the transfers, your best bet is to follow Home_FC on Twitter, because all the transfer news breaks there first. But we have sent a couple of 4 youngsters specifically, out on loan to lower leagues, even lower than our league, mainly because they're on £5 a week on youth contracts, and these teams agreed to pay their full £5 a week to take them. And with our wages the way they are, I mean, we've overspent on wages this week. Our budget's 426. We spent 465 on appearance fees. If we can get rid of everyone on a £5 a week who's not in the team, it gives us a little bit more to spend on appearance fees then, which is a good thing. We did confirm the signing of Richie Brannigan, though. The goalkeeper did come in and has now made his debut as well. So we've got a proper keeper, and we've also signed another midfield player, Milo Downey. He's another one who's probably not good enough to play for us now, other than the fact that we don't really have any midfielders. As you can see, our best central midfielder is still our attacking midfielder, and then our left back. So he's probably not going to play just yet, but he's another one who's on a non-contract pay-per appearance. If he starts to fulfil some of that potential, then he'll make some appearances and we'll start paying him. Until then, there's absolutely no risk involved in bringing him into the club, sticking him in the under-23s and seeing if he develops. We have got a little bit of an injury problem going into this game in the FA Cup, though, which means we're having to change the system for the first time. We've had an unchanged team for the first 3 games, but we've had an injury to our left winger, Keelan Steenson, who's going to be out for a couple of weeks with a gashed upper thigh. That's a proper gash if he's out for a couple of weeks. So we've had to shuffle things around because we don't have anyone else who can play in that left wing position. So we've dropped them back to a more normal left midfield. It looks like a more sensible tactic when it's in that shape, much less silly. We've moved CB over to the left-hand side and we're going to get a debut from Finlay Neal, who is one of the lads who was here when we first started things up and running. So fingers crossed he can come into the right side of midfield, look splendid. CB can look splendid over there, and we'll carry on our good form. But this is the team for the first game against Canterbury. We've got Brannigan in goal. In fact, it hasn't been an unchanged team for the first 3 games, because obviously we brought Brannigan in, didn't we? Yeah, so it did change. The rest of the team, though, unchanged. We've got Owen at left back, and then Kaiser, Bemby and De Groot making up the rest of the back 4. Morris and Phillips anchoring the midfield, and they've been doing an excellent job of that so far. Phillips, particularly in the supporting role of the two, does get nicely forward. I think he's probably one who it's easy to forget exists, but he's another one who's 16 years old, another one with bags of potential. Yes, he's not got the 5-star current ability that Dean Morris has, but you know, if Morris didn't exist, we'd be singing Phillips' praises constantly. We've got 2 16-year-olds at the base of our midfield, and they're doing a brilliant job there. CB and Neil give us our width going forward, and then Dunn in behind Harris up front. And our game plan is literally get the ball forward to Harris. He scored an absolute spectacular mess of a goal. I think it was this one that I just want to show you. It was a real welcome to non-league football goal that hopefully we can have a little look at. So it's this second goal in the game against Tadcaster. It looks like it's starting reasonably well. We have a bit of an attack. We're hovering around on the edge of their area. Things are going well. But then it gets cleared, and look at how the goal goes in. Just lumped forward. Harris just jumps up and nuts it over the top of their keeper. Proper non-league stuff. Harris can do it all. He's a hero. He is our new hero at this level. Let's get into the game, and hopefully he can continue his run of scoring 2 goals in every game he plays, and we can make it through to the next round of the FA Cup. I don't know at this stage of the FA Cup if there's any prize money, what the prize money might be. Obviously, the deeper you get into the FA Cup, there is money to be had. Any money that might be available is money that we want. Let's say we want to go out there and carry on when we finished our last match. We've been excellent in our last couple of matches, but I feel we were a little hard done by with the 2-2 draw. We were ahead in that game, and I think we just tired. We'd played a lot. We've played a lot of games quite close together early on in this season, and I think we are struggling with the fact that we don't really have anything beyond our first 11. But when we play well, we look very good. And there's Aaron Seaby playing on the left wing with his right foot, and there you go. We've invented the non-league deep-lying inside forward, because that was absolutely stunning. You shouldn't be able to do this in non-league. This was absolutely perfectly placed. The group plays it across to CB. One touch. Bang. I don't think he could do that again if he had another 100 opportunities at doing it. But he does put us 1-0 up early on in the game, and it's with CB again down this left wing. CB curls an in-swinging cross into Harris. I tell you what, having him out on that left wing with his right foot, they don't know how to handle him. That's incredible. Phillips now to Morris at the base of our midfield. The two of them just... it's usually nice, neat and tidy football, but we've missed out a little bit there. But luckily, the guy that it breaks to for Canterbury doesn't have the sweet right foot that CB showed us earlier in the match a couple of times already. And we've made a tackle there through Neil, and it's with Morris at the base of the midfield. Lumps it over the top to Harris. This is non-league, everybody. Harris is in, straight at the keeper, falls to Dunn, and it's with CB again on the left-hand side. Can we have another beautiful... Oh, my goodness me, they turned him inside out. The man actually did a somersault there. Not even a yellow card. Another example of what's great about football at this level. It's with Dunn now, who is absolutely cut in two. My word, Canterbury are doing MMA on us here. They need to put a cage around the ring. They're now, they're building on this left-hand side. None of our players want to get near them, understandably, because they're worried about just being cut in half. And they have a shot from the edge of the area that whistles wide. I don't even know what we're supposed to do about that. They are just kicking lumps out of us. The referee needs to get hold of this game, because otherwise we're going to get booted out of the FA Cup. And I don't mean that. That's not a colloquialism. We'll literally get kicked out of the thing. Done to De Groot. De Groot now to Morris. Back to De Groot. To Neil. Look at this. Knocking it round. Neil slide tackled when he was in possession of the ball there. But it falls to Anthony Harris. And, he scored again, because that's what he does. Unbelievably, 7th goal of the season now for Anthony Harris. in 3.5 games. Let me know down in the comments, how many goals do you think Harris is going to score this season? And do you think Potton would have scored more if we'd have kept him? Because the thing is, I was planning pretty much this tactic with Levi Potton as the striker before he went. So Harris might not have played a game at this point if Potton had stayed at the club. So it might end up being a blessing in disguise that we lost Levi Potton. Canterbury have got a goal back now. And unbelievably, they didn't have to kick anybody in the groin to do it. It's just a nice little set piece, free header. We need to be defending things like that better. But we've let him back into the game a little bit just before half time. But let's not worry about that, because the rest of the first half, getting kicked around the place aside, we were very good. No. Assistant manager has ruined that. Right, I've got to do these individual ones then. What can I say? I'm just going to let him do it. I don't know what to say to them individually there, because I wasn't that impressed with the defending from the corner. The rest of the game, we were absolutely fine. But from the corner, things were a little bit ropey. So let's see if my assistant manager's any good. I imagine he's probably not, but let's hope it doesn't cost us a place in the FA Cup, because that would be very sad. Right, Canterbury have got a corner here where they scored from their last one, and they're going to score from this one as well, because Kaiser's just given away a penalty. In fact, it's Phillips who's given away the penalty. It must have been something that happened off the ball. We need a big save here from Brannigan, and it's hit his legs. And there you go, we got the big save second time around. The first time around, he was like a Sabutio goalie. He just moved across, legs together, and it hit him in the shins. But we did get a proper save second time round, and it's with Harris now on the counter-attack, and we've got men flooding forward. It's Neil down the right-hand side. Can he get a crossover to all the men who are in the middle? Cross comes in, and it goes to the Canterbury keeper. But there you go. That's why Brannigan is worth every penny that we're paying him. I think he's got the highest appearance fee of anybody in our team. We're paying him about £60 a match. But if he's saving penalties and penalty rebounds the way he just did, he's worth every penny of it. Right, Phillips is not having the best of games, and both Phillips and Morris are shattered. The problem is, we still don't really have we don't have any backup for either of them. If one of them gets an injury or a suspension, we have to change the system, because they're the only two defensive midfielders we've got. Now, Owen could go into a more traditional midfield spot if we were to bring Kenny Bruno on at left back. I guess but then Owen's actually having a worse game than Phillips is, so we could just take Owen off, and the midfield stays solid. Should we just do that? And then Stephen Dunn, he does need to come off because he's on a yellow card. He's not playing particularly well, and he's just kind of flailing around a little bit. I've seen him a few times. Has Mills already got booked? Mills has come on and got booked straight away. He literally came on so that we didn't have a player in that position on a yellow card, and he's got himself booked straight away. Neil now plays it forward. Harris has got a penalty, and he's going to take it himself. And if he scores this, he keeps his 2 goals a game run going. Anthony Harris to make it 3-1 on 75 minutes. And of course he scores 8 goals from 4 games now from 16-year-old Anthony Harris. And that's the best thing about him, because being a 16-year-old means he's here on a youth contract, which means he's under contract for the next 2 years. We've got this lad for 2 seasons, I think, unless I don't understand youth contracts properly. Harris now with the corner. It's to Kaiser, and it's 4, and we're into the first qualifying round of the FA Cup, boys and girls. Ethan Kaiser, lovely little finish, lovely corner from Harris as well. He can do everything. He's got 8 goals from 4 games. He's also taking the corners, and there you go. Kaiser just tucks it in, easy as you like. And I think we can probably make another substitution to celebrate. Who have we got who can come on? We've got Burgess. We're not going to take Harris off when he's on a hat-trick. Sooner or later, he'll grab a hat-trick. Finley Neal could probably come off for Kieran Sheridan. Sheridan can come on that. Ooh, yikes. Can we stick him forward there? Where do you want to play? Where does he play? He's an attacking midfielder. Well, that's not ideal. So actually what we're going to do, we've done this a couple of times when he's come on. We'll stick CB back over to the right-hand side. Sheridan can be an inside forward over there. Supporting Mills, and just give him a little bit more game time. It was the change I nearly made at the start of the game. We nearly started Sheridan out there. We've won another penalty. Harris now has the opportunity to get his first hat-trick for the club, make it 9 goals from 4 games, and of course he does. And it's home 5, Canterbury 1. The FA Cup has our name written on it, boys and girls. This is easy peasy. And Harris can hit a good penalty. They've both been very, very good penalties. We have a proper good striker there, and I'm just worried that we're going to lose him. What's the situation if Peterborough down the road decide that they want to bring him into their youth system? Do they have to pay us a fee? Does it go to a tribunal? Are we likely to get any money if he goes? Because that's the fear. Obviously, he can't walk away for nothing the way a normal player would. But with us being in Tier 8, the chances of us getting more than about 300 quid at a tribunal are fairly slim, even though he looks like a player who, I mean, I'm saying it now, he should be a £100,000 player. He scores goals for fun. If Levi Potton can walk into the National League, then Harris must be as good as him. Potton wouldn't have been scoring more goals than this, surely. That was spectacular. Team talk, passionate. I mean, it was just very, very good. Well done, lads. Do that again against Cleethorpes, and we might even go top of the league. Well, as I don't know how many FA Cup draws we're likely to get on this run, let's have a look at one. I mean, just to give you an idea of the kind of teams that are in it, I've not heard of many of them. I don't think there's any of these that play at a level that would be playable in the vanilla version of the game. We've only made it to C. Goodness me, I'm not going to draw this team by team because we'll be here all day. Let's just hit draw all teams, see who we end up getting. We're going to be away to Ilkeston Town. Ilkeston. I don't know how you say that. What league are they in? The English Midland Football League. I don't know if that's above or below our level. I think that's probably down in the counties leagues, maybe county leagues. So that's Tier 9. We're Tier 8, they're Tier 9. So it's a team we should be able to beat, unless they're really good, I guess. When do we play them? The FA Cup run. We play them very soon. God, they squash these FA Cup games in, don't they? I don't want to do a million episodes really close to the start of the season. What I might do you want to see that, or do you want to see Cleethorpes? I think I'll show you Cleethorpes, and we'll come back to the FA Cup later on if we make it through, because otherwise it's just going to be 5 episodes of FA Cup run that will get us to the end of September. This is going to be a problem. They both need a rest at the same time. Expect a new look midfield for the Cleethorpes game. I just don't know what I'm going to do. Well, Finlay Neal won't be part of the new look midfield. Having made his debut in the FA Cup, he's now left to play for Peacehaven and Telscombe, who are they're in the county leagues, they're the leagues below. I don't understand why he's gone. They've not offered him they're not giving him any money. Why did he go? Finlay! And there's other players who might be like, I'm not letting any of my players go out on trial. This is madness. We have signed another player in between the games. We're still not ready to play the match yet. Connor Westney, though, we've brought in another striker. Not ready to play yet, but formerly of Leeds. And he's just another one to have in the mix. Similar to what I was saying about the other lad. This is the kind of calibre of players we've got to bring in. Youngsters who might end up any good, but they're no risk if they don't. But if we keep losing first-team fringe players and first-team players at the rate we are, some of them are going to have to make their way into the team as the season goes on. I don't know who Dave Fowler is. I guess it's somebody that... look, Pollock's going. Pollock's definitely going. This guy is another youngster that we're just trying to make £5 a week. We're trying to make £5 a week off of him. I don't know who he is. Fine, we'll go positive if you insist. And Cleethorpes were the pre-season favourites. Cummings Bart is back. That's 3 of the 4 midfielders who started in the last game not available for this one. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I know some people will ask how we're identifying the players who we bring in. We're literally, when these scout reports come up, if they're available on a free transfer, they get a trial. If they're not, they get scouted. If they come on a trial, and basically if they come on a trial and they can kick a football in a straight line vaguely, and they're willing to do it for less than £40 an appearance, then we bring them in. Everyone else just gets completely disregarded. We're still getting players turn up constantly who want £100, £200, £300 an appearance, which obviously wipes out our entire budget immediately. So it's very much luck of the draw, completely random. That's the way I like it, really. The game's looking for a clean sweep. CB's now discussing terms with Leek Town. We might actually have none of the midfield that started the last game available for this next one. But we have got some more trialists who've come in, so you can see this in action. I'm not going to do this all the time, but just to give you an idea of how it's working for us. Cameron Scott is a centre-back who's come in. Would be better than Bemby, so obviously we want him. We don't know anything about his attributes yet. I don't care. I'm doing this purely on scouting rating. Approach to sign. Not going to be able to afford him, so we walk away, and he doesn't exist anymore. And that is the process that I'm going through every single time. So this guy, he's nothing special, but he'd be the second best midfielder at the club if he came in. Is he cheap? No. So we walk away. And this is what I'm going through between every match. So that guy, he looks good. Is he cheap? No. Meanwhile, all our first team players are leaving. Right, some tweaks have been made. We're actually training this as a second system, so we've still got that as our first system that's being trained. This one, actually, as a shape, looks like a better system, but obviously does mean that we don't have our two superstar 16-year-old ball-winning midfielders in the team. So we've brought the midfielders forward. We've stuck the winger back up there because we've brought Sheridan in to play on the left-hand side as an inside forward. We've had to move CB back over to the right because we lost Neil, and then we've brought in Downey, who is one of the midfielders that we signed fairly recently to make his debut. He's going to be playing alongside our left back Nathan Owen, who can also play in midfield. I mean, he's not brilliant at it, but if we have a look, he's the best one outside of Stephen Dunn. He's our best natural midfielder. Well, he's not natural at all. So Bruno comes in at left back to cover for him. We do manage to keep Dunn and Harris together as our front two, although Dunn is discussing terms with other clubs as well. So we could be on the verge of losing Dunn and CB, which is far from ideal. I need to get that pesky goalkeeper off the bench. Five substitutes at this level is a monstrosity. Who have we got who can sit on the bench? They're both resting. Most of them are ineligible. We don't have a lot, do we? A centre-back, maybe? Steenson's still not fit. We've got a striker. We only need one striker down, and we've got no midfielders. Let's just stick Brad Smith. Brad Smith can sit on the bench, just in case we need to bring a centre-back on. I mean, the one thing that's going for us at the moment, and it's mad, it seems like a mad sentence to say, everything is we're playing the sexy away kit for the first time. Everything is going wrong off the pitch, including picking the team. But the one thing that is going right is we're a very good team actually on the pitch. We're getting results, we're playing well, we're scoring goals. Obviously, the more players we turn over, the harder that's going to be to do. But our goal is to avoid relegation this season, remember. Promotion would be lovely. If we could do promotion first time of asking, I'm not gonna complain, but we're not really thinking about that. I'm thinking in terms of let's get as many points on the board as we can before we lose all our players, and then plan again for next season. I love the pink shirt. It's very nice. I've, of course, ordered all three of them for myself, and as soon as they arrive, I'll be wearing them in videos from time to time, but this pink one looks lovely. Harris is in again, and there's his 10th goal of the season. It's the 1st of September, and Anthony Harris has just got his 10th goal of the season. Big ball forward from Sheridan from the left-hand side, and, it's just a lovely finish. Sheridan just inside their half, just lumps it over the top for Harris, and Harris is getting on the end of anything like that. You hit a ball forward towards him, he will find a way to get some part of his body on it, and more often than not, it ends up in the back of the net. We're 1-0 up against Cleethorpes, and as it stands, we are top of the league, which is not a situation I expected us to be in 3 episodes into this series, but I am absolutely not going to argue with it. I will enjoy the good times while they last, because I think there's going to be some rough seasons at various points throughout this save, and this could still end up being one of them if we keep losing all of our players. So don't get complacent out there, lads. Come on, let's go and have a good performance in the second half again. I'm tempted to drop back to a more cautious mentality. I'd like a second goal before we do that, though. Obviously, we know theoretically we're guaranteed a second goal because Harris has only got 1 so far. Or does the fact that he got 3 in his last game means he'll only get 1 today to maintain his 2 goals a game average? De Groot on the right hand side. De Groot again finds Harris. Harris finds Sheridan. Sheridan straight at the keeper, but we're putting him under good pressure. I like it. They keep getting fired up by feedback. Shall we do some feedback as well? What can we say to fire them up? Let's be passionate. Does that fire our lads up? Downey to Seaby. Beautiful cross from Seaby towards Sheridan. Sheridan is clattered, and that seems to be happening a lot. And now we've got Bruno at right back, who hasn't really played for us so far this season, but is our captain, and does get on the end of the ball, and it's forward towards Harris. Harris down the left-hand side. I mean, he's shooting from there, and I don't really blame him. I think if I was in the form he's in, I'd shoot from everywhere. If I get the ball, I'm kicking it towards the goal. First time I see it. Downey, out to Seaby. Can we get another beautiful curled cross from Seaby? That's exactly what we get, and it's just wide from, I don't even know who that was coming in off the left wing, presumably Sheridan. Apparently I frustrated them with my shout, so I'm not going to shout at them anymore. Downey, all the way across to Bruno, into Sheridan. Sheridan, out to De Groot. This is beautiful stuff. De Groot, into Seaby. Seaby to Sheridan. Sheridan straight at the keeper again. Lads, remember Harris. We seem to be bypassing him in these moves. He's the one who scores all the goals, remember? Let's stop hitting it over his head and just aim for him and let him do the rest. Because Sheridan has shown multiple times today that he's never going to score a goal for as long as he plays football for. Seaby, that's more like it. Forward to Harris. Harris straight at the keeper now. But it comes back to Sheridan, and it's with Dunn to Sheridan. Sheridan out to Bruno. To Owen. Look, we're just knocking the ball around beautifully. We're a very handsome football team, and I like it. Right, we are going to drop. If we don't concede here, we're going to drop down to a counter-attacking, cautious system. That's a beautiful tackle from Sheridan. He might not be able to shoot, but he can tackle. Can't pass, though, either. So, I mean, if you can get one of those things in a non-league player, we're not going to change the system. Shoot, tackle, or pass. Any one of those, and he's probably good enough to get in the team. If you have someone who can do more than one of those things, then they're probably not playing at this level anymore. We've brought no fans to Cleethorpes. It's a day at the seaside. Surely we'd want a day at the seaside and go and hang out in Cleethorpes, have some fish and chips. It'd be a lovely afternoon. Brannigan probably should have done a little bit better there. Is there a question of offside? Do we have VAR at this level? I mean, he's not even close to offside there. But, I mean, I would have happily seen it disallowed. Right, what have we got? What have we got in the shape of match winners on this bench? Oh, God. Dunn's not playing very well. Let's bring Mills on for him. Shadow striker getting up behind Harris. In fact, I'm just going to put him there just to try and keep him out of Harris's way. I don't want him right up Harris's backside. And is there anything else we can... I mean, we don't really have anything else. I don't want to just make changes for the sake of changes. Bruno's tired. Let's bring McNally on, who now becomes captain on his debut. But other than that, we'll just leave it as it is and hope Mills... I mean, I announced Mills on Twitter as a big signing. He hasn't really shown it to me yet, but then to be fair to him, I guess I'm only playing him out of position. He's a striker who I'm playing as a shadow striker. Should we even stick him up there? What does he want to be? He's another advanced forward. We can't really have two advanced forwards. Or can we? No, we can't. You do that. Be a pressing forward just to the right of Harris. And it just gives him the opportunity to play up front, which he hasn't really been able to do yet. Owen's not having the best... We don't have another midfielder. I don't even know why I'm looking. We'll just leave it at that. We don't need to make another change. I am worried that we're going to get a message after this game saying Harris is ready for his week off now that the other two 16-year-olds have had. But there's Cummings Bart, the turncoat, and there's Cleethorpes with a winner. Oh, it's been disallowed. Excellent stuff. Goal kick. And it's coming straight back. We have tired massively as this game has gone on. I think playing the high-tempo game that we're playing might be challenging at this level when we're not really training. We train like 2 evenings a week, and we're not even doing that when we're playing twice a week. And look how far offside he is. That one is definitely offside. But I don't know. I think we're going to have to rest our players a lot because tiredness is going to be an issue. De Groot plays it forward towards Harris, but it's nowhere near him. Comes out to Sheridan. To McNally. Let's see what McNally can do. Is he a crosser? He plays it into Sheridan. That was quite snazzy. Back to McNally again, across to Downey. Seems McNally is afraid of crossing. Here's Seaby, across to Harris, back to Seaby, back to Harris. Why did Harris not shoot at the goal? I hope he's not getting goal shy. Oh, I've got my 10 goals now. That's all. That was my season's target. I'm now all about creating chances for other people. And we finish 1-1. I mean, Cleethorpes were the pre-season title favourites. So I can handle... You were unlucky. I can handle a draw away from home against Cleethorpes. And the start to the season we had, has been spectacular. So I'm not going to argue with any of that. I think what I'm going to do, I am going to play the Ilkeston game. I'm going to record it, but I'm not going to put it in an episode. So what I'll do, I'll put the link to it down in the description. I'll also put the link out on the Holme FC Twitter in an hour or two's time. It will just be an unlisted video on the channel, so if you want to follow the cup run, you can, but it doesn't slow down the rest of the series for those of you who aren't bothered about missing it. So I think that's probably the best thing to do. And then we'll be back for tomorrow's... Oh, it's not tomorrow, is it? Sunday. No, it is tomorrow. I'm checking my schedule. Tomorrow, home, and then non-league to legend on Sunday. So we'll be back for tomorrow's episode, probably somewhere around here. I'm thinking October time, get a bunch of games played. Wisbech is a tempting one because it's fairly close to where I live, so they're one of our local rivals actually. So we'll perhaps do Mansfield and Wisbech as the next episode, unless the FA Cup gets super interesting. But for now, we will leave it there. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Don't forget to check the bonus episode that's down in the description if you want to see how we get on against Ilkeston in the FA Cup. And thank you very much for watching.